Hello and welcome back to the Diplomats and our coverage of the Nexus Season 7 finals. Eric and I have just posted, just finished recording the look at Fall and Winter 1901, and we thought we'd go and have just a quick peek, like 5 minutes, having a look at what went on in Spring '01, because it went on just before we recorded. The moves went through, but we haven't seen that yet. So let's go and have a look at just how wrong we were. And
whoa!
When you were saying Denmark to North Sea, I really did not think that was going to happen.
You didn't? I didn't think he had any other plays in front of him. Right? But the move to North Sea is almost mooted. I mean, heck, there's a fairly decent chance at this point he tries to turn around.
You were so right in the north, Norway into Sweden, but he gets there because Russia goes down to Baltic. Russia also in Silesia because Munich didn't bounce Silesia, and Karthik, he was not one but 2 units to the front. I'm obviously wrong about this.
It's not just units to the front, okay? It is not just units to the front. No one can help Ed, okay? France is out of position to help him. All right. England's not going to help him. All right. Berlin is a guaranteed take. Okay. Baltic supports Silesia to Berlin, Silesia to Berlin, build Army Warsaw. Okay.
Munich.
Bohemia supports Tyrolia to Munich, Tyrolia to Munich, build Army Trieste. And Karthik's getting Bulgaria too. This is brutal. This is
John's
brutal.
put his retreat through already from Bulgaria.
Yeah, he doesn't have
it. We might have to record this before we do semi-final B. We'll have to have a look.
Yeah.
What Italy.
Italy's moves are horrible. They're horrible. It's like, hey, what, Lady Razor? When you do your artwork for Krill, you need to draw a hamster on a wheel, because these moves are horrible. They're what's the point of them? What's the point of them? You know, he's obviously pulling completely away from France, or at least he wanted to. If he had any interest in France at all, he could have gone Naples to Ionian, Tunis to West Med. Okay. This is horribly inefficient. So this is looking like he wanted to pull away from EF. Now he can't pull away from EF, or he can't pull away from France. There's going to be an EF now. Remember, Ed waived a build, so he's +1. Okay.
I mean, this is all brilliant for France, but I don't know if necessarily it's an EF. It could yet be an FG.
France could take advantage of this and say, yeah, I'm going to keep going after England. But reality is he can go after both. Okay. He can go after both. And unless that Austria-France thing breaks up, there's not a whole lot of Germany left to go after.
This is actually Russia's fortunes appear to be changing, don't they?
He's +1. He's +1. Sev is safe. Rum
He's got an ally in Austria.
He's got an ally in Austria and an ally in England. His fortunes are looking better. They're not as astronomically awesome as Austria's are.
Germany should get Edinburgh at least.
Yeah, Germany's going to get Eddie. Okay,
he might not end up pulling anything.
If I were him, I would convince England about, listen, man, I'm going to take Eddie, but then we're going to get along. Keep England looking at Eddie. And then go take Norway. Because then next year I'm in position for Denmark and Norway to make an attack on Sweden. Okay? All right. if Ed goes and sends a unit to Eddie, that'll be the last unit he disbands because he's going to lose everything. Berlin is a guaranteed loss. Baltic is going to support Silesia to Berlin, Silesia to Berlin, build Warsaw, Warsaw to Silesia. Now he's taking Kiel. Austria's taking Munich. It's guaranteed.
Headlines here are all in and around Germany, aren't they?
None of them are good.
There is stuff going on elsewhere, but it's
yeah,
all concentrated there.
Yeah. Ed and Will Smith got the same publicist. Okay. All right. This ain't gonna be good, man. It ain't gonna be good. Turkey's out of luck. You know, if I were Russia here, I would swallow my pride a little bit, and I would help Turkey take Bulgaria back. And I would say, sure, man, I'll help you take Bulgaria. You got to take it from Armenia. Get Armenia out of his hair. Moscow still has to support Sev. All right. But, you know, you got to do it right because Tunis is in Ionian now. So he's going to cut Aegean. Okay. He's going to cut Aegean. All right. So Aegean can't support nothing. All right. So
it has to
either be
Greece.
Well, he can cut Greece. Okay. Yeah. If he cuts Greece and then Romania and Khan support Armenia to Rum, then that will work. Or wait, this is what happens when you don't prepare. If Rum and Khan supports Armenia to Bull, that will make. If Aegean cuts Greece, all right.
As long as Budapest doesn't sniff it out and tap Romania, right? Oh, sorry, Serbia.
It won't matter because if Serbia cuts Romania, then it's Khan supporting.
Oh yeah, because that's sorry. Yeah, I'm putting another army in there on my head.
If France and Russia get their act together, this can't be stopped. And this is the price that Austria paid for going after Germany. Because if Vienna had gone to Budapest, none of this would be happening. If Vienna had gone to Budapest, Austria would be keeping Bulgaria, guaranteed. Okay? So, you know, but Karthik sees the opportunity to create an AR, and I think it's going to work well for him. Russia is going to help him against Germany. Russia is going to help him against Turkey. Russia is going to help him ultimately against Italy. I think this is very, very, very good for Russia. Russia.
Sort of turn. Russia and France are looking a little bit healthier now, aren't they?
And France is back up. I think Jordan has to eat crow and jump into an EF here. He could send Wales to Liverpool and force North Sea, get the hell out of English. France is going to use Mayo to get Portugal because that's the only build he's got in front of him. So, yeah, France and England are going to get out of each other's hair, create a healthy DMZ. And I don't know. I think Greg orders Brest to Picardy. I think that Greg orders Brest to Picardy, Gascony to Burgundy, Marseille to Portugal, Mayo to Portugal, Marseille. You can support the move on Burgundy, I guess. Yeah, why not? It's that or go to Piedmont. But
probably not going to get in there. But, well, this was only meant to be like a quick sneak peek and our reactions to what was going down. But I tell you what, I'll be looking forward to jumping into this because this looks juicy.
Ed Sullivan, don't waive bills in 1901, sir. Don't waive bills in 1901. You're thinking that Austria and Russia are doing this to you. You're wrong. You did this to yourself. All right, I got nothing else to say.
Right, we will see you very soon because this looks really fun, very juicy Spring 02. A lot of stuff going on. So.
All right, cheers.
See you soon. And welcome back to The Diplomats, brought to you by diplomacybriefing.com, most recently featuring Brandon Fogel's latest learning experience. You join us for our continued coverage of the Nexus Season 7 Press Tournament Finals. We had a sneak glimpse of Spring 02. That certainly raised my eyebrows, and I think Nexus as well. And we're going to have a longer discussion about those moves today. We are joined by a special guest who will be familiar to those of you who followed Season 6 on The Diplomats, and that is Superstition. Hello, thanks for joining us.
Good to be back.
So for those of you that perhaps haven't come across you before because they're new to the Diplomats, just say a little bit about who you
are. Superstition, also known as Dawn Stitches. I run the Stitched Heart group on Nexus, and I'm also an admin on the Nexus server. So, yeah. I'm
enjoying the game so far.
What's that?
Enjoying the game so far?
The game has probably been the most entertaining finals I've seen. A lot of overextending, but well, it's definitely entertaining. It's hard to follow, but it's exciting to see where it goes. I have no idea how we're going to critique and figure out where everyone's going to go.
Absolutely, and here to help us with that once again is Mr. Eric Grinnell. How are you, Eric?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. But if you don't mind me asking, what the hell is that you're wearing?
Well, if you'll recall our last show, we talked about there was a Paris, Kentucky, and I told you I had an Eiffel Tower. And I wanted to show it to you, and then I went searching, and I found out that America has fake Eiffel Towers everywhere. So I prepared some photos for you, and I figured if I was going to take you on a cultural tour of American cultural misappropriation, I should dress appropriately. So I've got all these Eiffel Towers for you. The one in the upper left corner is about 30 miles from me. That is in Paris, Kentucky. That wonderful Eiffel Tower was built in the past 3 years or so. It follows a long, proud line of United States cities named Paris with a Eiffel Tower. You got Paris, Tennessee. You got Paris, Mississippi. You've got Paris, Texas. And we have all kinds of other Eiffel Towers as well. Everyone knows that we've got one in Las Vegas. If you look down there, the one standing on top of the hotel, that one is actually in the Bronx, New York. So our span of fake Eiffel Tower pictures goes from New York all the way to Las Vegas. There's a couple in California that I know of, but pursuant to court order, I'm not allowed to go back to California. So I'm not going to include that in my slides. Now, with the whole Brexit thing, I know you're kind of sore, and I didn't want Britain to feel left out. So I wanted to let you know we appropriate your culture too. Let me show you the next slide. That is a town called Alliance, Nebraska, and that is Carhenge. And that is a mathematically precise replica of Stonehenge, just to show that America loves stealing other people's culture. Probably because we don't have much of our own anyway.
That is so ugly, it's almost beautiful.
Haven't been there, haven't seen it, haven't ate lunch there, drank beer, got drunk there with friends. I'm going to lean in the direction of ugly, not beautiful. It's ugly, and the black flies are the size of your fist.
Well, now we've lost about 2/3 of our viewers. Let's get down to business.
All right.
And this is what we were looking at when the spring 02 moves adjudicated. And I mean, what are the immediate headlines that jump out before we go country by country? It seems to me that Denmark to North Sea is the lead here.
I think the lead is Trieste to Tyrolia, Vienna to Bohemia, Warsaw to Silesia, Bothnia to Baltic. that is a much more unexpected thing. I think a lot of players could see that fleet to North Sea coming. And when I say a lot of players, I mean everyone on the planet except for Wardy and Jordan, I think.
Obviously, didn't ask for the bounce, did he? He'd have got it if he'd ordered that to North Sea. How about you, Stitches?
Oh yeah, definitely the AR alliance is definitely the number one thing I see. Everything else, you know, the moves are there. We can talk about them one by one, but that's the biggest thing you see is that coordinated shift west.
Just as Germany moves in the opposite direction.
I will say this. We did a quick take right after spring posted. And then I sat down and looked at the map some more. You're going to find that my quick take opinions on this board and the opinions that I voice in this episode are not going to be the same. So, and that's the advantage of a press game versus a face-to-face game or a speedboat game, is you can take time and you can think and you can reconsider your initial reactions. Because if you play diplomacy with adrenaline, you'll lose. Trust me, I've been doing it for decades.
I'm used to that, I think. Okay, shall we have a look at Turkey first then? Sort of went a bit aggressive against Russia, and now getting his comeuppance rather. Gets pushed back out of Bulgaria with this AR teaming up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really don't like this moveset in general because trying to take Sevastopol with Armenia, there's just too many ways for Russia to defend it. You could have easily broken support and disbanded Romania and even convinced Russia you were going to do a late slingshot. But he could have taken Romania unless Austria was going to help him, but Austria is going to help Russia. So yeah. I think this is just a non-move.
Yeah, so I mean, what else does Moscow do, right, than hold Sevastopol here?
Well, it can cover STP from England. So maybe he was anticipating that he would cover STP, but Romania would still cover, so you would want Bulgaria to move. And he ended up supporting Austria, which makes me think Austria is still in Turkey's ear about an alliance, because the only way I think a Turkey is going to open Armenia with this meta is if Austria is telling him to do that. I don't think Turkey is just going to do it. So Austria made Turkey an enemy and secured an AR. So I think Austria has to be the mastermind here.
Well, I mean, both been a bit manipulative, maybe.
I think the most important order down there that you're looking at is the wasted order. Bulgaria supports Serbia to Rome, because that tells you everything Turkey has done until this point in the game has been based on thinking that he had Austria on his side. The last episode I talked, I said, hey, I don't know what Turkey was trying to accomplish, but I can guarantee you what he did accomplish. He created an AR, and an AR is exactly what we have. How long the AR lasts, that's a different issue. But I said that Turkey's moves were too cute for too long, and he was going to regret it. And Turkey helping Austria here is proof that that's exactly what happened. Now, with that retreat, you're going to have 3 units on Bulgaria. Turkey could theoretically patch things up with Russia, which I think is what's going to happen, and retake Bulgaria. But it's dependent on whether or not Russia is willing to forgive him for wasting the first, entire year of his game.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely thought they were, coming up with something together, and that they might be, elaborately blowing up this Russian fleet. But obviously, that's not the case. They were, So, sorry, Stitches. What are you going to say?
Right now, Turkey's only option is pretty much to sell out Austria and make them look like the bad guy and try to get Italy or Russia on side. Otherwise, they're going to collapse pretty fast.
Agree 100%. And that's really all there is to say about Turkey right now.
Pretty much.
I mean, we'll come back and talk about Italy, but yeah, that move east from Tunis into Ionian is probably not good for Turkey either, right?
No. Well, it's a pretty defensive move, but yeah, we'll get to Italy eventually.
Okay. Well, we seem to be praising Austria's sort of diplomacy in this game so far, and indeed he got an A in the rankings from Eric last time out.
More
He's
important than my
found
A,
an ally. He's taking a dot, and he's moved to Tyrolia and Bohemia just as Germany moves away. That's got to be good for Karthik, right?
more important than my A was that beautiful artwork that he got from Lady Razor. However, I think he made a mistake here. I think sending 2 units up against Germany this early is a mistake. And what he has done by not moving Vienna down to Budapest is he has reopened the door for an RT. He cannot guarantee Bulgaria here because Rum can support Turkey's attempts to retake Bulgaria. If Austria was in Budapest and had the ability to cut Rum, then Russia would not be able to do anything for Turkey. And Russia, knowing that he can't do anything for Turkey, would take the only path that makes rational sense to him and continue to cooperate with Austria. Russia may continue to cooperate with Austria, but Austria lost the lever to guarantee that that happens. I don't think he should have sent 2 units against Germany right now. You saw what happened to Germany here. He was the big dog and everyone piled on him. Okay. And everyone's looking at Austria right now. And you're going to see somebody do something to check Austria. I think it's going to be Russia. Italy could move to Tyrolia, to Venice, and to Greece. So it could be either one of them. But do you have that? Do you have that image from Lady Razor?
This one.
That is such a
with
great
his
image.
sweet Austrian buns.
Yeah. However, that picture being as accurate as it is, that's also why somebody is going to do something to check Karthik this turn. We'll call it caricature envy. Someone's going to check because he's looking too good.
Yeah. Austria was in a great position. You had the fleet in Romania, so there's no threat from Russia. You have the support in, you've taken Bulgaria. Italy is giving you tons of space and it isn't even trying to move east. It is moving a little bit, but it's more in normal positions. But I think if you don't have 6 centers secure and you don't have, Turkey in check, which it's not until it's out of the Aegean, at least. Bohemia is where Austria goes to die. 1 unit is bad enough. 2 units is wide open. I don't think Russia has an ability to pivot against Russia or against Austria, but Italy could definitely have some envy over not growing as fast. I think being
it
the
looks
key
like there's a bit
partner.
of distrust there with that the cover of Venice as Karthik does move forward. So maybe they're not all that solid, but for now he's got Russia on side. But we'll see if that continues.
Hey, Stitches, you had a great comment during prep about Austria's mistake here about cleaning out the closet. Well, what was that quote? Because I love that.
You got to clean out your closet, Turkey, before you go clean out your garage.
I agree with that. 100%. 100%.
Like taking Germany down a peg and taking Munich or helping, just tapping something here and there, maybe even from Tyrol, because you'll still have leverage on your primary southern chain. It would be enough to pull Ed back. Crippling them that fast leaves you exposed and benefits France more than anybody. So if Italy feels like you need to be checked, it's going to uncheck France even more. So
Austria jumping out this early reminds me of my old saying about Belgium. It's not whether or not he can take Munich, it's whether or not he can keep Munich.
Right.
And he may be jumping out a little bit early to accomplish that goal.
the benefit here is usually when you see a triple center, like what the Austrian home centers or the Turkish home centers or the German home centers, they're hard to keep unless you can take two. And if Russia does take Berlin, then Munich will be significantly easier to hold. The problem is Kiel is the inflection point that needs to drop for Germany to really die. So it's still not lost, but it's definitely looking bad for Germany. But let's continue on with Russia.
Yeah, so let's talk about his partner, Russia. I think things have turned around a bit here for Russia. Turkey's getting nowhere against him. He's found an ally in Austria, and he's moving forward against Germany. I think Berlin is guaranteed if he wants it. So, happy days.
Russia has a solid south. It's going to be really hard to take it away from him, and if you do, then you're going to disband Romania first, which is pretty useless for the most part. And then he's got clear expansion in the north. Germany's going to be on the defensive for a while. England's going to be on the defensive, so he can probably sweep that whole north pretty fast. And if he can continue his Austrian alliance while getting Turkey and Italy to stop Austria a little bit, then that's even better for him, because he doesn't have to get his hands dirty and he can just monopolize in the north and then scoop up what remains of Austria later. I think it's Russia's game to lose right now as far as momentum.
Wow, that's a statement. Interesting. Would you agree with that, Eric? Russia's game to lose?
He got a huge jump up in tempo from where he was. I think we still got that image from last season. I don't think he's sleeping on the couch anymore.
No.
He's not sleeping on the couch anymore.
Good
All
man.
right. He's got a guaranteed build out of Berlin. I don't think Romania is in immediate jeopardy right now. As long as it's surrounded by units, you always keep Romania, rarely by force of arms, almost always through diplomatic means. I don't know that he can keep Romania, but all Romania really does is support the fleet that's sitting in it. It's not critical to his long-term gains. The most important reason to keep Romania is that you don't give it to somebody else. So his position is very good. I don't think he's got the best position on the board right now. I think France does. But Russia is definitely doing much better than he was as much as a season ago. And a season ago, he might have been doing exactly this well. We just didn't have the foresight.
Yeah, you need it's different to judge moves without the diplomacy than when you've got insight, right?
Like I said earlier, without knowing the diplomacy, moves are just moves. The only moves here that really reveal diplomacy are the Italian bounce in Venice, which is I want to give Austria their space. Turkey supporting the Rum, saying I think there's an AT, and the ongoing bounce in English Channel, showing that England and France just don't trust each other, don't want to give up ground. All the other moves are just moves. So, knowing what the diplomacy is from the moves is pretty hard here.
And the half dozen Austrian and Russian moves together.
Yeah.
Point.
Anything else about Russia before we have a look at this poor German?
Spencer, well done, dude. Nice recovery.
Okay. In the last video, I was singing Ed's praises and saying how well he was doing. And now that looks to have all turned to dust. As you said in our sneak peek video, Eric, he's got to be regretting that wave now.
Even if he had built in Berlin and held, he wouldn't be losing Berlin right now.
Yep.
Yeah. And if Greg hadn't ordered Burgundy to Marseille, he might not be losing Munich right now either. Greg, or Ed, I told you were going to regret not building your third build, and I think that's exactly what happened. I gave you guys a Thatcher quote earlier, so let's continue with that. I've got another outstanding British Prime Minister quote for you, Ed. This is for you.
Standing in the middle of the road is very dangerous. You get knocked down by the traffic from both sides.
There's all four of them around him now. But
yeah, you shouldn't have waived that bill, Ed. I'm sorry, man.
And yeah, I saw this Thatcher quote, and I was like, "Oh, Ed really likes Churchill." So I was like, oh, "Let me come up with a Churchill quote that he will just love." He had 6 senators, and now he's gonna be killed.
Mother curse of the plenty.
Yeah. So
he doesn't look very impressed, Ed. He doesn't look very impressed.
We might be using that slide again in fall for Austria. We'll have to see.
I know, right?
maybe.
But yeah, I thought it was a little weird that he would give England low marks for holding a build and then do it himself, thinking he was better than the cautionary tale we put forth.
With Riaz in season 6.
Yeah, but I'm a firm believer you don't move off your primary chain until you have 6, and he had 6, but he didn't have 6 units. So if you're not going to prioritize Sweden, then you needed to build in Berlin. That's the long and short of it. If someone's trying to tell you what to do with your builds and you're trying to be diplomatic about it, they're just taking advantage of you at that point when you don't have the trust that you think you do. So, and that's exactly what happened.
I hate it when someone tells me what they should build or not build. Isn't that right, Eric?
You know what? Let's have that conversation in private, because I'm really proud. I'm really proud of how well I've been doing on these shows, not swearing. And if you insist on that, I'm going to swear.
Here was Lady Razor's take on Ed's movement, and between the devil and the deep blue, England and Russia and
Austria.
Signing his soul away to Ewok the devil, the manipulative Ewok, with this FG, which it may be, may not be, but Ed looks so happy at the moment, and I think it didn't last too long.
I think the main thing here.
Hey, take that back 1 second. Take that back 1 second. Greg still has Hitler eyes. I just wanted to point that out.
Yep. And now we see why. Although Jordan looks happier than I would have expected, but it doesn't look great for him either. But maybe he's just thinking your uppance will come.
I always say, win if you can, draw if you must, and if all else fails, screw the guy who screwed you.
Yeah.
And that's why Jordan is smiling, because he's going to outlive Ed.
The whole West is very good at diplomacy. Their press is just amazing. But I think that because they know each other is very good, and they do have such a deep personal understanding of how they play, every action in the West is going to be transactional. I don't think you'll see a solid alliance. I think France is reveling in the fact that they have a German vassal at this point. So I'd expect him to start pushing on Germany soon with that forced contract.
I kind of feel like he should have moved to Ruhr here. I don't know why Holland.
Unless Holland was going to be the convoy unit to Eddie.
Oh, well, yeah, but he's worried about Belgium. I forgot. Yeah, when we looked at the moves, Holland, it's difficult to see on this map, but Holland is supporting Belgium to hold. So he thought that, maybe there was a play on Belgium by EF. But then if you think that's what this is, then this is risky anyway.
I think you're overthinking. I think if he's going to stay in Holland, so they can convoy to Edinburgh, he's got to do something with it with this set of orders. There's nothing else to do, so go ahead and support Belgium, because why not?
Yeah, I suppose, but then you could have convoyed the other army. You could have convoyed Belgium, and if you needed to cover Belgium, you could have done it with Ruhr. I don't know, but the fact that that army in that Italian army has been in Piedmont would make me feel slightly more comfortable than I'm gonna have Belgium snagged. I don't know.
Ed's not worried about France because Ed is depending on France.
Yeah, so yeah, I just don't understand it myself. But maybe we've spent long enough talking about Ed, and maybe we should have a look at his intended target, Jordan in
murder victim
in England, who was convinced to go to Sweden, and he makes it because Tarsia sends fleet down to Baltic, and Ed is in North Sea. He may well regret that, but not a great position for Jordan either.
It was a spring move. There was absolutely no reason for Jordan not to insist on a bounce in North Sea. That was a huge diplomatic and tactical failure. He failed twice.
Even if you get in Sweden, you can ask for support in after the fact, but yeah, spring move should have had the bounce. I agree.
It was a bad move, and he did what I said he was going to do with the other 3 units. He supported himself in English Channel so he wouldn't lose it to France. He took a shot at Brest, not because he wanted to take Brest, because he didn't want to take Brest, but what he didn't want to do was get off his island. Because if that army was off of Wales right now and onto the continent, and Ed had just moved to North Sea, Jordan is truly, truly dead, and in very, very short order.
Yeah, so, if that army's in Picardy, it's trouble, right?
It's very fortunate. Go ahead.
I think he's protecting from a convoy, mid-Atlantic to Irish, Brest to mid-Atlantic, because then he'd be in a really bad position, or North Atlantic. But because he wanted to hit Brest because there's no army that can cover it. So now he walks in a place where he can cover Brest, but that was what Jordan needed to do. He needed to tap Brest to ensure that he wasn't going to get hit from both sides. And he keeps an army there just in case, Ed
so if you're Jordan here, what is your response?
You talking about predictions?
I mean, I'm just like, what is your play? Do you try and turn Germany around and say, go, you've got problems, let's not fight, we can sort this out, or just you try and disentangle from fighting with Greg and France and go after Germany, but then you're playing a small E to a big F?
The answer is you do both. You do both. You try and talk Germany into turning around. You sell him the fear, uncertainty, and doubt of, look what's going on in Berlin. Look what's going on in Munich. You got to do something about that. If we don't figure our act out, we're both going to be dead. And you got to try that because it's the right thing to say. But you also have to assume that it's not going to work. Okay. Ed has to take a dot from you right now. He's +1 in his pocket because he waived a build. If he doesn't take a dot from you, then he's disbanding. So Ed's going to take a dot from you. And trying to talk him into turning around and leaving you alone is a fruitless endeavor.
Yep. At this point, I think asking him to take EDI with a fleet is the best course of action. You could offer him Norway, but that could be a ploy to bounce him. So he's going to take Edinburgh. He needs it. So just keeping an army off of there and allowing his armies to stay on the continent to get his home centers back is probably your best diplomatic option with Germany at this time. With France, we disagree a little bit. I think it would be great if you could say, hey, France, sorry, this didn't work out. Can we mend things up and get out of here? But the long-standing relationship between Jordan and Ewok tends to show that they won't do that. So I think even if he turns around, France is going for the channel. If if Jordan can spin it and say, hey, Italy's always on your doorstep, you need to push him away, I have to leave, so this is your time to go clean up the South, that would be the only way to frame it, I would think, is to have the French fleets pivot. But I'm not sure he can sell that to the Ewok.
There's a guess over Norway, Sweden, isn't there? Yeah, for Jordan. Does he try and cover Norway, or does he sit in Sweden?
He sits in Sweden. He sits in Sweden because if he tries to cover Norway, unless he knows Germany's going to Norway, cover Norway is just giving up a dot. Meanwhile, if he stays in Sweden, and then next year he's in a position to work with Russia and to kick Germany out of Denmark and Kiel. Sweden is much better all the way around. Sweden is not going to cover Norway, which is why if I was Ed, I would spend all my time talking to Jordan about why it's okay that he let me have Eddie. I need Eddie. And then I would move to Norway. Because if I'm in Denmark and Norway, I've got to play on Sweden. I've got a opportunity to give myself at least some semblance of a line. If I take Edinburgh with Fleet North, you got to almost assume that you're going to end up with an English fleet in the North Sea. So that fleet in Edinburgh is going to be cut off. It's never going to be able to take any other dot without losing the dot that it's sitting in. A fleet in Eddie is nothing but a janissary fleet to work for France's benefit. Norway can do a lot more for Germany in the long run than Edinburgh can.
I think it's beneficial for both England and Germany for the German fleet to go to Norway. Adds options against Russia if they want to change. But it's just that trust. Does Germany and England trust that a bounce will not happen in Norway? It's like if England tries to bounce out of Norway and Germany ends up going for EDI for the sure thing, then England got doubly screwed.
Well,
I agree with that.
Here's a question: Do you expecting Kiel to support Denmark to hold here? Because otherwise, Sweden and Baltic can have a play on Denmark.
They can, but I think it's more likely that Russia's going to make sure that they have their sure thing in Berlin.
Russia's been under the gun all game. He's got to take that sure build. He's got to. And he's going to take it from Silesia, because if he takes that unit from Silesia, he puts himself at, look at Baltic Sea. It touches Sweden, touches Denmark, touches Kiel.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So if he's in Baltic and in Berlin, he's got a commanding position to, especially because he's going to have a build. He can turn around and drop that build in St. Pete. That's an inflection point, and it changes the direction of the line and the tempo of the game. So
if that is what's going to happen, Ed has maybe some diplomacy available to him here because Sweden can tap Baltic.
They can.
Is there anything Ed can offer to get Jordan to do that for him?
No.
Fair enough.
Absolutely not.
It's a long shot.
There is no fury like a woman scorned. Jordan, I'm not trying to change your gender on you, but it's the right quote. All right. You still got fury, you still got trust, but more important than that, it would be a disaster for England if he ordered Sweden to Baltic and made it. He can't afford that. He's going to order
Sweden. Sweden's going to Denmark.
He's going to order Sweden to Denmark.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about our defending champion and Ewok in France. You said, Eric, earlier that you think he's got the best position on the board right now.
I love this position. He's going to get all of England, and he's going to get all of Germany except for Munich and Berlin. He's going to get Kiel, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, St. Pete. He's on a glide path. He's on a glide path because the coordination between Austria and Russia isn't going to last the whole game. It's just not. And Italy's making very ineffective use of his pieces. So I like France's position very, very much. And it just shows what a diplomatic wizard he is. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Greg was the little demon on Ed's shoulder who convinced him to move to North Sea. Although I'll be very honest, I think Ed had that intention all along.
Yeah, it does look like an FG. It always looked like an FG. Well, it did look like an EG for a second there, but I mean, Germany never really followed through with England and Italy's containment of France. So at this point, France has an extremely good position. He doesn't really have an aggressor. He has an annoying Italy on its doorstep, which is kind of nice because it keeps France somewhat in check. Because France can overextend quickly and ramp up. Just that army in Piedmont and the threat of a fleet near West or Lyon is enough to really make France hold back a couple of units. I don't think that's going to last very long with the conflict in Germany and England right now. So you'll see France ramp it up soon. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how he can be stopped.
If
It shows, doesn't it, just how quickly things can change. He looked in trouble last year, Greg, and he got the guess right against Brest, and he went and got, kept his powder dry, went and got Spain, covered Marseille, didn't play chicken with anybody, as we had mooted. A force under France on face value doesn't seem particularly scary, and yet all coming up France.
Yeah, I mean, with no Germany, it's definitely a France-Russia game. When they meet in the middle and they clear their sides, just a race to see who wins. So if no one's going to prop up Germany, if Austria is dead set on watching Germany die, then I think that's Austria's loss. There's only so much an AI can do against an FR. So
if Ed does not quit screwing around with Jordan, Greg is going to very quickly find himself in the position where he has an English puppet that he doesn't have to offer any dots to. He doesn't have to offer anything to at all. The only thing Greg is going to have to offer Jordan to get Jordan to do what he wants against Germany is a promise of revenge.
And it's a dish best served cold.
So. But Greg, but Ed is screwed. He cannot withdraw and leave Jordan alone here, because if he does, he's pulling the unit, and then he's dead meat.
Yep.
I really think Ed has painted himself in a corner, and in the process of doing it, he painted Jordan in the other corner. I think they're both screwed. I think France is going to benefit from this hugely.
So that's why it happens when you over advance without using all your builds. And that's what happens when you split your fleets and leave North empty. So
yeah, so much good could have been done with that extra unit for Ed. How do you think France deals with Italy here? He's had an army there just sitting in Piedmont. It's not clear whether he's under attack or not from Italy. It's been it could have looked quite ugly this turn had Italy have gone to Western Med, but that's not what's happened.
No, I think Italy is just putting a little bit of pressure to ensure that Ewok stays in check. It's in a vulture position. I think Italy's that grow too fast are easy to check because they're in the middle of the map, and it's too hard to have a 2-front war or a 3-front war if Germany comes in. But when you do a defensive posturing and you wait to see where the alliances shift, and you look to see who's dying and where you can pick up centers, someone might just give you stuff, or so as long as you keep your reputation as the lesser of evils, you can grow unchecked. So I think that's what he's doing. He's just biding his time, making sure that he can pivot where he needs to pivot as necessary. Piedmont just ensures that France doesn't grow any faster. It's probably helping England a little bit. So that pressure is kept off from the north. So, but without Germany, unfortunately, France is keeping everything together.
So what
And
do you
now
think
the
of
pressure from England's gone.
what do you think of Italy's sort of moves here with the fleets? The Tunis going back to Ionian and Naples coming out because as Eric as you said in the sneak peek video, he could have gone to Ionian with Naples and Tunis was free to advance towards Iberia.
It's true. I'm a big proponent of always keeping your fleets together. They can't support each other. They can't convoy together if you keep them split. So I think fleets need to go 2x2. And yeah, if you're going to pivot, you need to pivot together. So leaving Ionian empty is a little risky. So I agree that that's probably the better move. It just depends on where everyone goes and where everything happens. Right now, you definitely don't want Turkey or Austria in the Ionian right now. So I think he kind of has to have it there.
So when Krill saw this map after adjudication, is he seeing I have a duty here to go and contain France a little more aggressively than I have been already?
If anything, I think he sees that there's no way for him to pick off anything for France because now he has no help at all. And so it's better to evacuate Piedmont and maybe keep Austria in check because right now they're growing to a point where, you can't hold Venice. So.
And
yeah,
evacuating Piedmont is exactly what I said that Italy should do after spring '01.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it then. And he didn't do it now because the best predictor of present behavior is past behavior. I don't think it's going to do. I've changed my assessment from my quick response after viewing the spring results. My quick response after having looked at it a little longer. I have a different idea on what Italy's going to do right here. Okay. I think Italy is going to send Tyrrhenian to Ionian and Ionian to East Med and Rome to Apulia to set himself up for the convoy into Syria or Smyrna. I think the reason he did it the way he did it was so he didn't project a big rush towards Turkey, make Turkey hope that he's still trying to keep France in check so that Turkey doesn't do anything that interferes with his setup for the Lepanto convoy. That's what I think's going on here.
I think if they have a strong AIR alliance, then Piedmont will stay. There's no real reason for it to shift away just because that keeps pressure from France growing.
That's true. Do you think Italy has anything to fear from France, like a direct attack in the near future?
Not in the near future, no.
Not until England is subjugated a little bit better and the channel situation's good. I think it really needs 2 fleets to be pushing Italy, and it kind of needs 2 fleets to hold the channel. So once Portugal and Belgium go down, I think Italy's going to have an issue.
I agree 100%.
If we think that France and Russia might be the 2 sort of serious powers on the board, who is it in the south that benefits that? Is that Italy?
Italy can definitely benefit if it gets a wintergreen and sets up the AIR like Eric was saying. If it goes to Syria and they end up cutting out the Austrian middleman, Italy can be a contender. I don't think Italy with France it makes any sense other than neutrality. If it wants to take on and do a crack-in with Turkey to check the Austria-Russian alliance, then getting that neutrality with France is a necessity. But
so Italy still has options here.
I think the board might be a little bit too developed for a crack-in to form at this point. I don't see an IT getting their act together. I don't. Turkey is no longer an ally. Turkey is food.
I don't know. 3-center Turkey is still pretty strong, especially when you got Italy on the other side. It's a 2-front war. So.
He's a good bulwark, but he's not going to help you make progress against your enemies.
I don't know. Once you steal Trieste and Greece, you're looking pretty good. That's exactly where I want Turkey to be if I'm Italy. Is not a threat to my Mediterranean holdings, just holding on enough to push me forward. So
yeah, Just gonna say, yeah, maybe he could talk Turkey into doing something like building 3 armies.
I mean, what daft Italy wouldn't leave Turkey alone in that scenario?
I only know one.
Let him go through Russia.
Do we want to do a quick ranking here?
Well, I think you missed the slide. I think.
Yeah, I'll come on to that.
Okay. All right. Rankings now. I thought we were only going to rank after the fall. I don't know.
We can wait till the fall. It's fine.
We can do that, but we're liking Russia and France here.
I don't think anyone's
going
got
to be.
I think Russia, Austria, France all have B's. Italy's got a C, and England, Germany, and Turkey all have D's.
Yeah, we were talking about the way that France things have turned around here for France, and that it's probably his doing. And my question to you, Eric, was how does Ewok do it? And you pulled up this quote again from Thatcher. I'm extraordinarily patient, provided I get my own way in the end.
Thatcher strikes again.
Well, that's again, and so does Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Always got a finger in things. His diplomacy is just fantastic.
It is, but he never follows it up with moves at all. Like all his moves are just very cold, calculated, defensive moves. It's like he's not going to come to Germany's aid. He might, assist them to not collapse quite as fast or get in position so he gets part of it. But
don't collapse to Russia, right? Or Austria.
He's just not like a super ally. It's like he might be a friend, but in the end.
Well, you don't have to be when you can get other people to do your dirty work for you, right?
I know, right? So it's kind of interesting. He can weave a web and still leave himself out of it. Unless you're Max, then Max will just flame you on the Nexus. So
it's Max Vax, yeah.
He was a man of his word. So
playing with Greg reminds me of that whole Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck thing. 1 for you, 1 for me. 2 for you, 1, 2 for me. 3 for you, 1, 2, 3 for me. That's playing with Greg. That's also playing with Doug Moore. But if you can get away with it consistently over time, it's a great way to play, and Greg does it very well.
Any final thoughts on the board before we have a look at predictions, etc.?
Let's go to predictions.
Yeah, don't wave builds.
Don't wait, Phillips. Maybe he's let us know. It might be a while before
I just feel like there's this 2 cautionary tales. Don't skip your build and don't move to Bohemia unless you're ready to cross the.
Well, I got slated on DBN last week for waving as Turkey.
When you need a bounce to protect your interior, you insist on it. That's the other cautionary tale.
Don't evacuate north.
Yeah, gosh. So here's a few of the comments that I found in the Nexus threads, including a couple of the players themselves. John Anderson, our Turkish player, says, note to self, don't divulge all your orders to the flying boat when you notice he uses the same PowerPoint presentation for presenting an alliance as he does when selling timeshares.
John's Turkey, right?
John's Turkey and flying boat. That's Karthik in Austria. So he feels he's always been sold a lie of sorts.
Oh yeah, twice. It's like fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. I need an Italy or Russia alliance. So.
I want to take exception to the comment. I think it's horribly disrespectful to timeshare salesmen.
Yeah, shout out to the timeshare salesmen. John pops up again and referring to that cartoon, that Lady Razor cartoon of Ed signing in blood, it looked like, for the FG. Is it Ed makes such a cute little German cartoon character? It's nice to see him so happy and living at the moment because that's under threat right now, although John himself has some problems.
Ed always smiles when he's signing documents because he's making $500 an hour.
Well, you can pay for my Zoom then, in that case. Because I sure don't.
Well, if you guys have ever looked at the logo for Ed's law firm, Ed's last name is Sullivan. His partner, I'm not going to give the name because I don't know if Ed wants the name of his firm put out there in the world, but his partner's name starts with an O. Okay. So their law firm logo is an O superimposed over an S. It makes a $sign. It is right out of an Ayn Rand novel. I love it.
The 2021 DBN Diplomat of the Year, Peter McNamara, says, Ed, I'm sure Doug Moore has some words for you, and that probably includes "Don't wave." Yeah, he's known as a great player of well, any country you give him, but especially Germany.
Peter McNamara is a consummate player of the game. Both of them are, and the hobby is lucky to have them both. I can't tell from looking at that which one made the comment. I got my own suspicions. Either one of them's wise enough to say it.
And Ed's comeback to that was, I'm not playing. I gave my username password to Max over the weekend, and look what happened. Well, maybe Ed's sleeping on the couch. Well, he is perennially, but
when he said I'm not playing, I just stopped reading because I believed it. So
I don't think that's fair at all. I don't think Max would have ever played that poorly.
He had a mini stroke at this time.
So, okay, time for predictions, and this is what we've got from you, Eric. A whole load of trouble for Ed.
See anything good coming of this from Ed. You don't walk away from sure builds in absence of some other very, very powerful countervailing argument. I don't see Austria or Russia with an argument strong enough to dissuade them from taking Berlin and Munich. Russia has to take Berlin, no questions asked. He has to take Berlin. He's got to get a build. Could Karthik afford to not take Munich? Yes, he could. But if you take a look at what I predicted for Austria, I think he's going to regret sending both those units north. By not having an army in Budapest, he's let Russia slip off the hook. And Russia has the opportunity to A, resurrect an RT, B, get a little bit more control of what's going on in the east, and C, get Turkey out of Armenia. If Russia stays allied to Austria over here, I think that Russia will always be the little brother in this alliance. And in a game that ends in 1910, you don't want to be the little brother. You do not. I don't know if he'll do it or not, and it will come down to personality, and it'll come down to diplomacy. It'll depend on how annoyed Russia is with Turkey. But Russia has the ability here to help Turkey take Bulgaria back. It's a guaranteed take. It cannot be stopped. This is what I think Turkey and Russia should do tactically. Whether or not they do it depends on A, as I said, how frustrated and angry Russia is with Turkey, and B, how excited he is about the prospects of an AR. ARs tend to get people very excited and seeing huge numbers. And if you look too far in the future for an AR, you forget your present and you end up getting stabbed.
One question here: is Ed allowed to use Fleet North Sea to convoy twice?
No. If you look at the text orders I wrote, I only have Holland going to Edinburgh. Belgium's got nothing else to do, so that's just being a smart ass. Okay.
maybe it's the Churchill.
But I like Ed trying to convoy to Edinburgh. If England is cautious and isn't willing to vacate the channel, and Greg cuts England for you, then the convoy makes it. If England takes North Sea from English Channel like he should, then North Sea is getting dislodged, and he can then pick whether he wants to go to Edinburgh or to Norway. So
Or
that's
the
what I
retreat.
think he should. That's what I think he should do. And if he has the option of going to Norway after the dislodge, he should definitely go to Norway. Leave Edinburgh alone. If he goes to Edinburgh, he'll never win Jordan back. If he goes to Norway, there's opportunities to coordinate with each other.
And you were suggesting it's better tactically anyway.
The other thing I predict here, I think what Italy is doing in the south with his fleets, I think he's setting himself up for a Lepanto. What he does with Piedmont, I don't really know. I threw Venice down because, you know, he's shown a history of not wanting to lower his guard against Austria. That's why he bounced himself in Venice last time. So you still got an Austrian army in Tyrolia. Covering Venice would be prudent. So, but that's it. That's my predictions, and I've already seen Stitch's predictions, and some of his I like more than mine. Let's go to that.
Well, let's have a look. Here we go. Talk us through this, Stitches.
I think Turkey's going to try to evacuate Armenia on Russia's behest, but I'm not sure Russia's in position, nor has the will to stab Austria at this time. I think with England and Germany being in such disarray, that sweeping up Scandinavia and Kiel is much better. I think after getting 2 centers up there, maybe a stab on Austria will happen. I think right now Italy's being left behind. They could set up for a Lepanto, but I mean, they're going to get Smyrna maybe. It's not a lot. I really think this is the opportunity for Italy to pivot on Austria, since Austria has been split its units completely, left its homeland completely empty. Russia can't take advantage of that, but Italy can. So I think with no pressure on France, it's a good time to make amends with France and vacate and move to Austria. I think moving the Austria splitting itself like this is just bad. So it could be that Russia jumps in on it too, but I really don't see Russia doing it.
I
It's
certainly
more likely
agree that Italy needs a build, and I think Greece is the obvious one. But I think if I were Italy or Austria, I think I'd prefer to do that by arrangement rather than the stab like this.
it's possible, but there's no way to really evacuate Greece at this time.
Well, if it happens like it happens and I'm Austria, I retreat Greece off the board and I build armies Vienna and Trieste.
I think France will set up for convoy. It's going to go to Portugal. If it can arrange an evacuation of channel, if it can arrange an evacuation of channel, it'll take the channel and be set up for either Belgium or Wales, depending on who's looking better. It gives them options to pivot. So in the spring, if Piedmont moves away, you can move back to Burgundy, shore up Germany, or take advantage of Germany. France is just in an amazing position to pivot however he wants to. But it's just that's the big difference. I don't think Jordan's going to willingly give up the channel, but by doing so, then he gives Ed convoy wherever he wants. So
well, you can say that. You can say that to Ewok, though, can't you? You can say, yeah, you can tap channel if you want, but this is what's going to happen, and how does that help you?
Right.
I don't know. It depends. It depends on whether. Greg can choose, right? Greg can choose his partner, basically.
He can choose his partner, and it's pretty much a shotgun wedding either way. He's most likely going to be in channel one way or the other. You have to trust that he's just not going to convoy to Wales, or he can choose Germany. Or he can just choose both and just eat them from behind like he usually does, and just gets in position to support them long enough to take a dot here and there without resistance. So,
but your convoy gets me to Portugal is much better than my order of taking Portugal from Mayo. Much better. It's a better defensive move. It's a better offensive move. It's a better tempo move. I just didn't look at it deeply enough to see that there as an option. It was a much better move, and if Greg plays right, that's what he'll do.
He builds Army Paris that'll cover Brest, and then he can pivot to North Atlantic and Mid Atlantic, and convoy out of Portugal right in Bequay or Liverpool or wherever he wants. So
yeah, I mean, you don't really want an army in Portugal, but you don't want to leave mid-Atlantic. So
no.
I think that on balance, that's the best play
And
here.
if Italy's being really bad, you can always convoy it to North Africa, which nobody likes. So, but with Germany, I have Denmark convoying because Denmark's almost guaranteed to be dead next year, and for the most part, army in Denmark is fairly useless. So just going up for the balance because you pretty much guaranteed that Russia's going to support into Berlin, so you don't have to worry about supporting Denmark. And just trying to pivot that out just a little bit, it's probably your best option.
I think if you get out of Denmark, you lose the ability to set yourself up to patch things up with Jordan. If you get out of Denmark, you pretty much guarantee you're going to lose Denmark and Kiel next year. I think the unit that you send out is Holland. So, and I don't think it's going to matter because I think the fleet's going to get dislodged. I don't think the convoy is going to succeed. I think all those armies are staying home.
Well, we don't have long to wait to find out.
Yeah, a few hours.
Only a few hours. I think we might do another sort of live reaction thing if you're free later. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in fall of 02. Thank you very much for your company, Eric, and Superstition, and to you as well. We'll see you very soon.
Keith, we've got competing predictions. So Chris and I established the tradition. We got a bet for a quid. All right. So you and I got a bet for $1.32 based on our predictions. Okay?
$1.32.
Yeah. And just so
it'll cost you that much to collect it from North Carolina. So
just so you know, when I lose those bets, I pay them in yen. I make a little necklace and I mail it to you in a box.
How about rubles?
On that note, we will end here and we will see you again very soon. Thanks very much.
See you soon.